US officials recently announced that mysterious objects had buzzed some of their Navy ships. At first it was linked to possible drones, but after reading the logs and reports of those on board the ships, the objects turned out to be something entirely different. In fact, US Navy officials said that the objects in question were highly advanced, and that they had likely come from the ocean. According to obtained Freedom of Information Act records, the documents revealed that 3 unmanned aerial vehicles buzzed 3 destroyers for several days. The mysterious aircrafts were described in the logs as unmanned aerial vehicles, and as of right now it's not known what these unidentified crafts were. The documents state that 3 objects chased and flew circles around 3 US warships, and this was off the coast of California back in 2019, with the reports going on to detail that one of these crafts was able to match the speed and bearing of one of these destroyers, and it did this for over 90 minutes. So far, all of this information has come directly from details released from the ship's logs. The USS Kidd was one of the ships that were approached by these mysterious objects. As of right now, many people are labeling these crafts as drones, but in the official ship's logs they're described as being unidentified aerial crafts. The logs go into detail that as many as 6 of these crafts were observed flying around the ship, saying that these objects were seen performing brazen maneuvers. The log went on to detail the following. Kidd reported UAV. White light identified hovering over the ship's flight deck. 2 UAV spotted off the starboard wing. 6 minutes later, 4 UAV spotted off the starboard bridge. End quote. Now Avril Haines, America's top spy chief, has said that the objects that were detected around the warships could be of alien origin. Avril Haines, who is the director of the National Intelligence, and who also oversees 16 of the biggest US spy agencies, including the FBI and the CIA, said that these objects are now of particular interest, and that as of right now they serve as a security threat towards the United States. The topic once again came up while Avril was speaking at the Our Future in Space event at the Washington National Cathedral, saying that while these crafts have been the subject of their theories, they are very much real, and they pose a threat towards the nation. In fact, the whole event was of particular interest, as NASA Administrator Bill Nelson and Professor A.V. Loeb were also talking about advanced life forms. Avril said that there's things that we don't understand about these objects, and that we need to conduct further tests in order to better understand what these things are, where they're coming from and what they want. She said the following. The main issue that Congress and others have been concerned about is safety of flight concerns and counterintelligence issues. There's also the question of, is there something else that we simply don't understand, which might come from extraterrestrially? She hesitated when she said the word extraterrestrially, leading a variety of theories to be put forward, from some saying that she didn't mean to say it, while others said that she might be giving us the first hints of these objects' true nature. It's been revealed that US officials are looking to set up a permanent office so that they can investigate these objects properly. Avril continued with the following. We're pretty sure that we're not going to get to characterize every single one of these UAP reports in the various categories that we identified, because frankly we weren't able to understand everything about it. A large portion of that is based on the fact that we don't have a consistent way of reporting this information. We need to integrate a lot of the data that we get. We need to get better at collecting information that's useful to us from different sensors, and we need to deepen our analysis in these areas, and that's something that doesn't surprise you in the way that we approach our intelligence work. Interestingly, she also said that she would get fired if she told everyone what the coolest thing is that the intelligence services are doing in space. She ended by saying the following. The US is committed to protecting access to and exploring space for a variety of nations. We recognize how important this is to our collective human prosperity. Many users said this is a great step forward in regards to having open discussions about what these crafts are, noting that for years officials have been downplaying them, and that it's great that someone is finally opening up about what they are. This led to some sharing their opinion on the topic on social media. This person said the following: "What about if we got the narrative on this all wrong? Perhaps US officials have known about these crafts for some time now, but what if they don't know how they work or where they come from? What about if there's a lot of information missing that they just can't work out? How are you meant to tell a nation about something if you yourself don't know what it is or where it came from? It could be one of those situations where they're still trying to figure out the answers." End quote. As mentioned, some have said that US officials have known about these crafts for some time now, and that they've been seen by eyewitnesses around large bodies of water. Reports of these crafts go back years, with some even being detected by nuclear submarines that's been rigged with the most sensitive listening technology in the world. People who wish to remain anonymous have detailed their encounters with these crafts. In 2007, an eyewitness of the coast of Half Moon Bay in California claimed she had observed 3 objects while traveling on the cruise ship Dawn Princess, renamed in 2017 as Pacific Explorer. The witness said that the 3 objects came into view, all uniform with each other, evenly spaced in a line, parallel to the ship's hull and hovering just above the water's surface. The objects were nearly spherical and glowing in the sky, and appeared to stay in one place while the ship moved past them. They were hovering but didn't disturb the water just below them. Just as they went out of sight, the far left objects disappeared into the ocean. A trend that's seen across popular science fiction movies and numerous depictions of extraterrestrials that have the ability to telepathically communicate with an outside species, or amongst themselves. This has been a long-held belief of amateur researchers, and has been witnessed time and time again by abductees, and the accounts they detailed during their encounters. Claims of supposed instances of telepathy can vary from different detailed images in their mind that appear to be symbols, mathematical expressions, complex images, hearing a voice inside their head, and even being unable to discern their own thoughts with the thoughts being planted inside their minds. Physicists and scientists have recently announced that due to there being billions of planets in the Milky Way galaxy, and due to there being billions of galaxies, the likelihood of extraterrestrial life being out there is high, and this can be backed up with mysterious signals and exoplanets that's being discovered every year. Given the scientific evidence and developments of the human brain, is there a way to explain whether advanced life forms may be reading our minds? Before we continue further, it's important to note that there is evidence in scientific endeavours in the realm of neuroscience, and the ability to translate the neurons near the random electrical impulse firings into readable information that can be displayed or understood. In fact, back in 1999, there was a research study by Dan Yang at the University of Berkeley, California, that successfully recreated what a cat observes in the physical world, using pure data retrieved from visual neurons. So how can we retrieve data from neurons, and how does this help us? Though many might not believe it, and still regard such scientists as within the realm of supernatural, this is hardly the case. Using an EEG machine, one can gather information from the brain using a differential amplifier, which merely works to gather data from 2 electrical inputs, and measures the differences compared against each other in electrical occurrence, and shows that data as an output. That means that data can be retrieved from the brain by merely detecting the electrical impulses through the scalp of a human being, and comparing it to other regions of the brain as a whole. The implications of this finding means that if someone could create a technology so sensitive and accurate in picking up electromagnetic fields or electrical stimuli, one could remotely detect these occurrences coming from the human brain, and work to gather the data required to translate your thoughts and brain signals into readable information. But that does not help to explain the strange phenomenon that occurs in supposed alien contacts via telepathic communications. If such a device is used, then how is it that humans, when exposed to extraterrestrial life, have the ability to communicate telepathically back to said alien contacts, and why is there no mention of the appearance of such a device? It could very well be that the alleged extraterrestrials evolved this ability to communicate telepathically through natural means in their evolutionary pathways. All life will evolve some ability and means to communicate with their own kin, and not all methods include vocalizations like human communications. Some forms of life use smells, physical contact, body language, and so on. So is it within the realm of impossibility for telepathic communication to have occurred for intellectually advanced forms of life? Let us treat this as a thought experiment. As you advance technologically, war and technologies could become incredibly dangerous and lead to self-annihilation if these routes continue, and a lasting peace cannot be established. However, a great way to avoid contact is to establish a means of open communication and work to better understand the situation at hand. Have you ever tried to communicate a thought, but found words to be a terrible delivery method of translating emotions, personal experiences, observations, and context? What if all life that develops methods of communications that are not able to more accurately represent their inner monologues also lose the ability to equally grow their intelligence as a species, or in this sense, annihilate themselves before becoming an intergalactic race? Could it be then that an intergalactic species would have to naturally form telepathic communications to prevent such catastrophes and be able to advance? Is there evidence of animals on Earth that might be able to evolve in this manner? If we take this theory of data retrieval from the brains of animals, via sensing electrical impulses and changes in the electromagnetic field, then there's evidence of evolution granting this ability amongst life here on Earth. Referred to as electroreception is a sense that humans do not seem to possess, that gives animals the ability to perceive natural electrical stimuli in other life forms around them. Electroreception on Earth has only been seen to occur almost exclusively in aquatic life, or amphibious animals that spend their time in salt water, since salt water is a much better natural conductor compared to the surrounding air. This ability is so sensitive, in fact, that young sharks can recognize the specific characteristics and traits of electrical stimuli among predators, and hide before the creatures even come within sight. Could this be evidence of life on our very own planet naturally developing methods in evolution that allow for non-verbal communication via electrical signals and readings through telepathy alone? Another interesting development in UFO and alien researches is the lack of verbal communication from extraterrestrial contacts. There are no reports of a screaming, screeching, yelling, or vocalization of any kind coming from supposed encounters. Could this be a statistical reference for their inability to communicate verbally, and only telepathically? Regardless of what you make of these encounters, it's interesting that those who've claimed to have been contacted all share this, saying that whatever they encountered, all of them noted that there was no speaking during the encounter. For many decades, people from around the world have been fascinated by the sightings of a large ape-like creature that's commonly referred to as Bigfoot or Sasquatch. This creature is known for its large stature, with eyewitnesses saying that this large creature stood between 9 and 15 feet tall. Though many might not believe that this creature exists, researchers say there is overwhelming evidence of its presence in mountains and forests from around the world. There are many areas stretching across North America that are often referred to as being hotspots for the sightings of Bigfoot. According to many Bigfoot experts, these concentrated areas get the highest amount of reports of a Sasquatch creature. One headline that surprised many though was just announced by an Oklahoma lawmaker, in which they stated that they wanted to bring in a Bigfoot hunting season. On the 20th of January, Representative Justin Humphrey introduced House Bill 1648, urging the Oklahoma Wildlife Conservation Commission to officially establish a Bigfoot hunting season. The bill stated the following: the Oklahoma Wildlife Conservation Commission shall promulgate rules establishing a Bigfoot hunting season. The Commission shall set annual season dates and create any necessary specific hunting licenses and fees. End quote. When this was first announced, many online users thought this was a joke, but when people questioned officials on whether this was real or not, Mika Holmes, Assistant Chief of the Information and Education Division at the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife Conservation, stated that this is a real bill. Holmes wasn't enthusiastic about the new bill though, saying the following: "Here at the department we use science to make management decisions, and we do not recognize Bigfoot as a wildlife species in Oklahoma." End quote. At the moment the bill hasn't passed, but if it does go through it will take effect on the 1st of November 2021. Those who are interested in Bigfoot have suggested that this could be the government's way of trying to tell us something, with Bigfoot researchers saying that officials are no stranger to the cryptid, and that over the years they have carried out their own investigations into the creature. One Bigfoot researcher said the following: "People will laugh about this, but it could be the government's way of telling us that they're out there. Bigfoot has been sighted by man for hundreds of years. We have ancient carvings and stories that have been passed down over generations. Perhaps now the government has decided to tell everyone the truth." End quote. As you can imagine though, not everyone got on board, with one person saying the following: "It's not a good start, is it? With everything that's currently going on right now, our government has decided it's the right time to bring out a Bigfoot hunting season. I'm glad to know that they're tackling the problems that everyone's talking about." End quote. The Department of Wildlife Conservation went on to hint that it's a bizarre move from the government, with others thinking that at first it was announced in order to give people a laugh. However, after it was announced the bill was genuine, people didn't really know how to react. As of right now, we'll have to wait and see if the bill does eventually get passed. Interestingly, Bigfoot researchers have said the name Bigfoot only describes one type of large humanoid living in the forested regions of our planet. Often encountered in the woods across the United States is that of a cryptid that's commonly been referred to by the locals as the Grassman monster. The Grassman monster, also known as Orange Eyes, is a massively large and hairy man-like creature that many have compared to Sasquatch. Unlike many of the other Bigfoot sightings all across the world, it appears that the Grassman cryptid is far more dangerous, and has a number of strange behaviours that make it unique across all other Sasquatch species. Many that have claimed to have stumbled across the beast while hiking through forests claim that the Grassman is capable of constructing small huts and areas for living, a unique behaviour that's never been reported surrounding that of the Sasquatch species. It's because of this strange behaviour that many report that the creature is not that of a Sasquatch, and of a different cryptid entirely. The first well-reported sightings of the Grassman monster happened back in 1978. This was when several kids ran into their home and alerted their grandparents that a hairy man was digging through their rubbish pit. When the grandparents went to investigate what was being claimed, they saw the large Grassman as he was digging through the rubbish looking for food. However, the large creature soon ran away after being spotted by the adults. As research continued in the area surrounding that of the Grassman, people began to report spotting a large ape-like creature living in huts made of tall grass, only to come back to the site later to find it completely abandoned, with the creature moving to new areas after being spotted. Scientists, researchers and skeptics though have turned around and said that there's not enough evidence to prove that these large creatures exist, and that the majority of evidence that is presented ends up getting debunked. Some evidence that has been put forward to prove that Bigfoot is real is that of hair samples. However, when scientists have tested these, the majority of them turned out to be from everyday wildlife. This hasn't stopped Bigfoot researchers though, as they say there's enough proof and eyewitness accounts that have led them to believe that the Bigfoot creature is real, saying that one of the main reasons why they're not spotted is because they congregate in dense forests that are hard to reach. They say this is one of the main reasons why hikers are more likely to see the creatures than others, because they're more likely to venture into these regions. Although these claims and stories seem far-fetched, it's important to remember that animals such as the mountain gorilla were only discovered in 1902, with scientists saying that thousands of new species are still being discovered every year. As of right now, Bigfoot researchers have said these creatures are out there, and in recent years credible photographs have been presented, which prove that humans currently share the planet with a large undiscovered humanoid. So what do you guys make of the news that the government is trying to establish a Bigfoot hunting season? And what do you make of the creature itself? Do you think it's real, or are people just misidentifying everyday wildlife? Be sure to leave your questions and answers in the comment section below, and help us to grow this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.